a 96 miles hike, or accordingly 154 kilometers. The West Highland Way goes all the way from Milngavie to Fort William, or the other way around. The trail opened in 1980 and was Scotland's first official designated long-distance footpath. The way takes you along the shores of Scotland's largest freshwater lake, countryside parks, open moorlands, and through mountains past the highest summit of the United Kingdom. About 120,000 people walk on the paths of the West Highland Way yearly, of whom nearly 36,000 do the entire route. Normally people start in the south and walk northwards, to have the easier sections first and prepare for the northern stages, which include more elevation. Because it suits us better, we started from Fort William and headed southwards. So our first day started off at the official end of the West Highland Way. The small town with almost 6,000 inhabitants is located at Loch Lomond. At first we went through the city centre, past well-maintained buildings and monuments. One of them is the statue of a Ford Model T, which was driven to the summit of Ben Nevis in May 1911. The view of this mountain will be possible later on from the path. After leaving Fort William, we reached the beginning of the Glen Nevis Valley. Once we came a little further into the valley, on a continuously slightly uphill forest road, we could see Ben Nevis. This summit is, with its 1,345 meter, the highest of Great Britain. After leaving the valley at the former Dundee Dale fortress, the way changed to a trail. As we walked along the path, we noticed many small purple flowers at the wayside, which are called bell heather. The dark purple-pink bell-shaped flowers appear between July and September. There are also a lot of ferns in the Scottish Highlands, but most of this area is vast pasture. Along the West Highland Way are sometimes information boards about people from important events in these areas. Thanks to its plentiful rainfall, mild winters, fertile soil, and hill-sheltered topography, Scotland is ideal for tree growth. At the beginning of 2019, about 18.5% of the country was forested, which is not much considering the average of 43% of the European Union. But compared to 100 years ago, when forests only covered 5% of Scotland's land area, it has increased significantly. The path continues onto the old military road, which leads us through a highland valley and past the Larrimore and the Tainaslaboch ruin. Scotland is known for its many ruins, which got clearer while walking along the West Highland Way. After passing the remnants of the two buildings, we reach the Larrimore Pass, with an altitude of 835 meters. Which is the best known hill pass in Scotland and also the highest point of the day's stage. From here it's only downhill to the evening stop Loch Lomond. An important facility in Loch Lomond is the hydroelectric scheme. It was completed in 1909. The West Highland Way goes uphill to the starting point of the pipelines for the power plant, which has the reservoir of the Blackwater Dam as water supply. We continued on a nice trail towards the Devil's Staircase. This pass is the highest point of the West Highland Way. The Devil's Staircase originally got their name from the soldiers who participated in the road building program of General Wade. The name was immortalized when some of the workers building the Blackwater Dam decided to go to the nearest pub after their wages had been paid. For the Loch Lomond workers, the road to the King's House Hotel was more difficult than many of them could imagine. The return trip was even worse, as unsteady legs meant that many did not manage the return journey, and the devil often claimed his own on a cold winter's night. Ironically, the Devil's Staircase, contrary to its name, doesn't have that many steps you would think. It's more a trail with a few larger stones. Once down in the valley, the path continues parallel along the A82. The closer we got to the King's House Hotel, the more sprawling the plateau becomes. Then it goes up with a slight increase to the Rannoch Moor. Apart from the stony road, the soil here is very swampy. Then we reached the Black Mound, where the road continues to go slightly downhill. Which finally led us over the Victoria Bridge and past the Inveroran Hotel at Loch Lomond. We continued on a trail to the last ridge of today's section. From where we descant to the Bridge of Orkey. The name of this village refers to the 1751 built bridge over the Orkey River. The beginning of the third day led us through the valley from Bridge of Orkey to Tundrum. Where we walk on a part of the main road north, as it was called before 1930. After we came through Tundrum, the trail continues through scattered trees, along riverside paths, along the West Highland Way you will come across many pastures occupied by farm animals. One kind of them is cattle. The best known of these is probably the Scottish Highland cow. The Highland Cattle Registry or Herd Book was established in 1885, so this is the oldest herd book in the world, making them the oldest registered cattle in the world. Unfortunately, we did not catch a glimpse of a single Highland cow during our trek along the entire route. Another type of farm animals are the sheep, which will be described later. The path leads us slightly uphill until we reached the link to Crenarich. We took this short detour because the village is the place where we stay overnight. This part of the forest offers mushrooms perfect habitat. They can be seen in a wide variety along the way. The following day, we first made our way back to the official West Highland Way route. As already mentioned, in addition to cows, there are probably the more widespread farm animals in Scotland, sheep. There are more sheep than people in Scotland. On almost 15,000 farms, there are 6.83 million of them. Because of the many pastures in the highlands, you can frequently see the typical mossy stone walls. That day, we were glad for every underpass we have to go through, as we were caught in the rain accompanied by strong winds. They have a few sayings in Scotland, like, there is no such thing as bad weather, only the wrong clothes. Or, today's rain is tomorrow's whiskey. Because of Arctic air from the North Sea and the warm low-pressure areas from the Gulf Stream, which outweigh each other, Scotland has temperate maritime climate. But it may also be that it is raining or drizzling for a longer time, as it had then. Luckily, we had rainproof hiking equipment with us. Anyway, it continues on the way until we got to see Loch Lomond for the first time. With an area of approximately 71 square kilometer, Loch Lomond is Scotland's largest freshwater lake, and it extends towards the north and the south with a length of 39 kilometers. After we walked along the shore of the lake for a while, the trail begins to become more demanding. Finally, the path became a road again, and we reached our destination for that day, Roverdenham. The next morning the weather was still unchanged. The West Highland Way continues parallel to the shore until it reaches Bamaha. From here you go up to Connick Hill. Since we had been walking through the rain for a few hours, our boots were starting to become wet inside. Unfortunately for us, the weather got worse with stronger winds and lashing rain. As the path now more and more resembled a small rushing stream, our hiking boots and clothes got wetter and heavier. But the more we were looking forward to a warm shower and dry clothes in Drimmen. Drammen is, with its about 850 inhabitants, not a big place, but offers everything you need when walking the West Highland Way. As we woke up on our last day of the way, our shoes had not completely dried. But after a short while and a few kilometers, we got used to it. And luckily, the weather had become nice again. The path from Drammen goes for about 3.5 kilometers over a small road. Here we already could see the impact of the previous rainy days. Apart from the fact that the rivers contain a lot of water, many puddles had formed on the way. Sometimes it was rather complicated to dodge them. After a last short part along a bigger road, the countdown for the last few kilometers is on. The numbers, which are getting lower from signpost to signpost, bring new motivation for the final section. And then we reached Milngavie, the official start of the West Highland Way, or for us, the end of a 154 kilometers hike and 6 days with stunning landscapes, historically interesting places and a partially exhausting long distance footpath.